Hello everyone, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to today's diction class. And of course, the topic for today promises to be very interesting if you listen or pay more than the usual attention. Today, we're going to examine the topic letter names and syllabic spelling. Now you may wonder, what does this mean, syllabic spelling? You may not have heard that before, okay? But for letter names, I know it's a kind of revision for you. You're expected to know how to say the letters of English alphabet. In fact, what makes the native speakers sound differently from us is the fact that they speak and recognize the letter names of each of the alphabets that they use in English. Now, we're going to examine the 26 letters of the alphabet, one after the other. I will tell you the right pronunciation, and you will repeat after me. And try to remember the correct pronunciation because we're going to use it to learn to spell some words later. So, happy learning! Alright, so let's start with the first letter. How should you say the first letter of the alphabet? Very simple. You should say it recognizing the fact that it starts with an E and it ends with A. If you look at the lesson notes I sent to you attached to this video, you will notice that there is a transcription, a kind of rendering for you to know how you're going to pronounce the first letter of the alphabet. And you will notice it starts with E and ends in A. Now, we shall begin. You will repeat after me. You will repeat after me. E. Now we're going to say it together slowly so that you can get the right way to say the very first letter of the alphabet. So it sounds A. So it's not A. Okay, so let's practice again. Letter A. Repeat after me. Letter A. You will notice that I did a glide from E to A. So let's try it one more time. Letter A. Good. Letter A sounds A. And so that's why we don't say A for apple, but we say A as an apple. That's very clear. Okay, because the sound for letter A is pronounced A. Now, the A, whenever you have to say the spelling of the word and it has to do with letter A, you have to say A. So let's say it again, A. So if I say spell at, you will say A-T. Now it's not forming, that's just the right way to say that letter. Now let's get to the next one. It's pronounced B. B. So it's letter B. I know the way you hear people pronounce it, B. Now, when you pronounce it that way, it shows that you did not recognize that there is a long sound in front of it. As you can see in my rendering in the second column of the notes sent to you. So it's pronounced B, showing that there is a long E in front of it. So if I asked you to spell B, you will say B-E-E. Exactly. That's how to go about it. So let's say it again. B. Very good. You notice the stress with which I said it, showing that there is a long E in front of it. So letter B sounds B. You notice just the explosion of my upper and lower lips. And that's the right way to say it. So let's repeat after me. Say B. So that's why we don't say B sounds ba, but we say B sounds ba. So the right letter name is B. So the next time you're going to spell a word, just say B. Repeat after me. B. Very good. Well done. Now, let's go to the next letter. The letter name is C. Like you're saying, can you see me? Exactly. The name, the right word for see, to be able to see. And that's exactly the way you're going to pronounce that letter name. So repeat after me. Letter C. C. Repeat after me. C. Like you're trying to say, see. See me. Very good. And now, the letter name is C. The letter name is C. And the sound is K. You can have that in cut. And it can also be pronounced as S. Now, when the letter C gives S, there is an E in front of it. So we can have eyes. Eyes. Iceberg. Okay. And it's different from, of course, when you say eyes. That ends with Z. Brilliant. Now let's move on to the next letter. D. Now you will notice I took the tip of my tongue to the back of my upper teeth in order for me to say D. Keep your tongue there, the tip of your tongue there, and try to say D, D. And that's exactly the sound for letter D. So repeat after me. D. Now you can just say D. If you say that, that's wrong because there is a long vowel sound in front of it. And you have to recognize that sound when you are talking to someone. For example, you're trying to spell dog. You have to say D-O-G. And for a second language speaker, that sounds like, where's that? That's not necessary. Right? It's kind of necessary for native speakers because that's the exact pronunciation for the sound. I mean, for the letter. The letter is letter D. So repeat after me. Say it with that emphasis and you'll get it right. Remember, to speak in the right diction means clarity. You have to be clear. So say D. Say, good. Letter D sounds D. Very good. We're doing very well. Let's move to the next letter. The next letter is E. E. So letter E sounds E. So that's why we cannot say E says egg, but E says egg. Because that's the first sound, E. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next letter, F. F. Letter F sounds F. F. Good. So that means that letter F cannot give us fish. what will give us fish will be f sounds fish. So the letter name is F. F. It's as simple as that. Now let's move on to the next sound. The next letter this time. The next letter is G. Did you notice anything? I took the tip of my tongue to the roof of my mouth in order for me to be able to say G, and then I glided the tongue forward from the roof of my mouth towards the back of my upper teeth. So the roof of my mouth, I'll call it palate. Now you don't need to remember that. Just know that you have to take the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Very good. And then you glide it forward to say G. Did you see my lips? Now let's try. Say this way. The letter name is G. You must say that way in order for you to say it correctly, so it's not G. If you say it as G, it means you did not recognize the sound E at the back of it. Alright, now repeat after me. Letter G. Letter G. Very good, you did very well. Give yourself a super clap. Great, great, great. And letter G sounds G. And that's why we say G says goat and not G says goat, because the sound gives the pronunciation. So the letter is, don't forget, the letter is G. Remember, it is G. Now you may not have to protrude your eyes like mine, like say G. No, you don't have to do that when you're talking to someone. I'm trying to emphasize something, so trying to teach you. So that's not what you should learn, as you try to say. So just say G. So if I were to spell goat, I will say goat is spelled G-O-A-T. Sweet. So let's say G. Very well. Now let's say the next letter is pronounced H. Did you notice anything? I did a glide for the first letter, like I'm saying A, right? Slowly you glide that, and then you say A, and end with the tip of your tongue. The tip of your tongue will go to the roof of your mouth this way. So it becomes A. Did you notice what I did? As soon as I was going to say, in order for the sound not to escape, I raised the tip of my tongue to the roof of my mouth, what I called palatal, and drag it forward towards the alveolar ridge in order for me to say very good. So let's go. Letter H. Letter H sound. So it's just your breath, and you have to be very careful with that sound. In one of our class, one of the classes that we're going to be taking during this lockdown, we're going to treat the letter H, what is called H factor. Where there is no H, don't put it. Where there is H, then you have to put it. For example, you have to say has, H-A-S. Okay? You have to say house. You can't say house, that's wrong. It has to be house. Now you don't even need to stress it, because the sound is just your breath. It's just your breath. So just go. Have you seen an elderly person trying to clean his glasses? You see them go into the glasses. Very good, that's just a sound. So you will say, and then you go house. It's easy as that. And where there is no H, you close your mouth. For example, ah. Notice I didn't open it so wide like saying house. So it's O-U-R, ow. Okay, so we come back to all of that. But the point I want you to get in this class is age. That's the right pronunciation. So if I ask you to spell hat, you have to say H-A-T. Now it's not for me, remember, it's the right way to say it. Very good. Let's move to the next letter. It's letter I. Did you notice anything? Now I did that intentionally so that you can notice the glide. I glided from A to A. So you go I. So it's not I. Now say I. Like you're saying I did it. What did I do? I don't know. But I'm just giving you an example so that you know how to go about it. So it's actually letter I. And it's not for me, it's the right thing to do. So repeat after me, say I. And interestingly, letter I sounds I. We'll come to that in one of my videos. The right pronunciation for letter I, the right sound, is actually I. Like you say igloo, and you say in, it. Now we'll come to that in another video, but the point I want you to get in this class is to be clear with the pronunciation for the letter. It is letter I. Letter I. And letter I sounds I. We'll come to that in another video. The next one is pronounced J. Did you notice anything? J. I took the tip of my tongue to the roof of my mouth to say J. And you notice it has A at the back of it, and I recognized it, and I said A. So repeat after me. Letter J. Letter J, of course, sounds jet, so that's why J, we give you jet. Okay, we'll come to that. But the point I want you to get is letter J sounds J. Repeat after me. J. Jet. That's for the sound. And now the letter J. Letter J. Repeat after me. Letter J. And that's a very good one. Well done. You did very well. See if I can hear you. Give yourself a super clap. Very good. I know you're watching. Okay, now let's move to the next one. The next letter is pronounced K. Letter K sounds K. I think our second language speakers try very well in speaking this, in saying this correctly. You hear them say K. That's a good one. Native speakers, we also say the same thing. So it's actually K. And for you to be sure of what we are doing in this class, the reference is in your notes. You can check the reference. You can also look up the Oxford Dictionary or any dictionary that you are using, and make sure you look up the word that starts the letter K, the first letter, how it's transcribed, and that will help you to know the right pronunciation for letter K. Now let's move on. The next one is L. Did you notice anything? When I said L, my tongue at the end of that pronunciation touched the back of my eruptive this way. Lollipop. That's the exact sound. The exact sound for letter L. Letter L. So letter L sounds L. We will come to that. In the video we did for the nursery pupils, we actually dealt with that very well. How to correct our children that are saying letter L, which sounds L for R. That's common among Easterners. It's a research shows that it's actually common among Easterners, especially eastern part of Nigeria. But in that video, I was able to explain what you have to do in order for you to be able to say your L and not substitute it for R. One of the points I mentioned is that you should say L. Take the tip of your tongue to the back of your eruptive. So if you have been pronouncing the L, the sound, without taking the tip of your tongue to the back of your eruptive, then you're wrong. You have to correct it. So letter L. Good. Now let's move to the next letter. Letter M. M. That's quite easy. And we know letter M sounds male, mat, male, and so on. Okay, now let's move on to the next letter, and that is N. Letter N. I don't think second language speakers have issues with this. It's quite easy to pronounce. So it's actually N. Letter N sounds N. And that's like mosquito, like mosquito in your ear. So you can teach your child by saying N. Alright, so letter N. The next one, letter O. Did you notice anything? My mouth opened slowly and then closed in order to do the O. Now repeat after me, say O. Letter O. Letter O, the O sound. O. Orange. Now be careful because letter O, if you say it sounds O, it makes you sound or bring in African sound. Now this is just intentional. African sound into it. So if you're a native or let me not mention, you may likely have issues saying letter O sound O. It's actually O. Did you notice anything? O. English. Okay, we'll come to that in another video. I examined that. Okay, so the point is letter O. You're coming from O, letter O, letter O, letter O sounds O. Very good. That is the right pronunciation for letter O. Let's move to the next letter. Letter P. You say P, not letter P. No, say P. Fine. When you say it, someone will understand what you've said. However, when you happen to meet a native speaker, or you happen to write IELTS exam or international examination based on English, then you're going to have a low mark in speaking because they will know that you do not know the right pronunciation for the letter. In fact, I got my first job because I was able to spell my name, Matthew. Just ask me, what's your name? My name is Matthew. And he said, oh, your name is Matthew. Oh, interesting. Matthew, is that the way to say? I said, yes. The way you hear is Matthew. So I said, my name is Matthew. And he said, oh, interesting. That's great. Okay, can you spell the word Matthew, and I say it's M-A-T-T-H-E-W. I remember then it was actually a global customer care job. So do it right. Don't try to do it like every other person. Now you are not, you stand out of the crowd. And that's why you're listening to this class. So it's actually, the letter is letter P. There's a long E in front of you. Check your notes and look up the word in the dictionary. I mean the letter in the dictionary. You see the exact transcription for it. So let's move on. Let's move on now to the next one. Letter Q sounds Q. We don't have issues with this. So it's Q. Alright. Letter Q. Letter R. I think we have issues with it. I often hear people say letter R. Well, some native speakers say that too. It's common among Native American speakers because they're erotic. They always want to go, you often hear them say, my sister, my brother, and all of that. Like, just drop it like, but among the native speakers of English, the R is not pronounced, except the next word that comes in front of it is a vowel sound. For example, if I say, my father is, then I'll bring in the R to link it. In our next lesson, you will know how to do that. But for the sake of this class, the point you should get is it's pronounced R. Just like when you say A-R-E, it's in your notes. It's pronounced R. Very well. So you say letter R. And some will say, well, will people not confuse that for you saying the sound for letter A? Now, no confusion. If you ask me to spell rat, I will go R-A-T. Now, if you ask me to spell rain, I will go R-A-I-N. R-A-I-N. Now, the point I want you to take note is that everywhere where you have the R, I go R. So you have to be consistent with your spelling. And even if you go for spelling B, those who anchor spelling B, they do that. They already know that. So if you go R, they know. And if you go in R, they just let it go because well, it's not a pronunciation class. It's actually spelling B, and they know that some people say R. But the actual pronunciation is R. So, letter R. Now, the next letter is letter S. Sounds S. We don't have problem with this. But I know that many don't pronounce the S by raising the tip of your tongue to the back of their upper teeth because it's an alveolar sound. I actually look into that in one of my videos, so you can check on the YouTube videos, my channel, and then you will be able to find one of the videos that discuss that. So the letter S is pronounced, the sound is S, S, S. You notice it's alveolar. You take the tip of the tongue up and then you don't keep it there because at the production of the sound it touches it and then it comes back. And that's why it's described as what we call an alveolar sound. Now you shouldn't keep alveolar. That may be a big word for you. Just know that when I say alveolar, I'm talking about the back of the upper teeth. The back of the upper teeth. That's the alveolar. And if you take your tongue there, you notice it has ridges. It's the alveolar ridge. English is so interesting. All right, so I want you to just say S. S is as easy as that. Not S. No, you're not dragging. It's just S. And the next letter is T. 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 Like if I say, may I have a cup of tea? T. So letter T. It has a long E. And you have to recognize that because if you say T, and you say that in spelling, then I will say that that letter pronunciation is wrong. Okay, so take note, it's actually pronounced T. Remember, when you speak in the right diction, when you do things the right way, you will stand out among others. And that's what you want to do, because in the labor market, there are a lot of people. So before they ask you what kind of certificate you have in school, did you graduate with a first class? The first thing they will take note is how you speak. That's the first thing that will take note when you're speaking to them. All right, so, and that will convince them if you have any degree. Okay, so that's that. So say T. The next letter is U. Like I'm saying, I'm talking to you, and it sounds and that's one. It's another thing you should pay attention to, because letter U does not sound O. It sounds In one of our video, it's actually discussed. We'll look at that later. But for now, what you should take note is when you're pronouncing the letter, it should be pronounced as U. Letter U. Like I'm talking to you. U. Very good. The next letter is V. V. Letter V. Letter V sounds V. Okay? And when you say V, be very careful not to substitute it for F. When you say V, don't substitute it for F. And one of the ways to get it is whenever you have a spelling and it is V, just lock your lip, the lower lip, lock it in. Do it consciously, and you will never say COVID-19. Now that can be very funny because it's actually COVID-19. COVID. You notice anything? I'm locking my lip. COVID. Yes, that's how to overcome that challenge, so that you will not say F for V. You hear people say I have FIFA, and then I ask myself, are you talking about the federation that controls football? That's FIFA, but that's not what you're talking about. You're actually talking about fever when you're shaken. So the best way to control it, in one of my videos I've discussed that, so you can just look for that video. But what you should get now is that it is pronounced V, and that's the sound, and the letter is V. V. Letter V. Letter V sounds V. Okay. The next letter is W, and that's another interesting one. You hear people say W. Well, that's not totally wrong, but the actual pronunciation is like saying double U. You have to double Y-O-U in order to get it. So you notice that it's W. W. All right, so that's just the sound. Now let's go to the next one. The next one is X. X. Letter X. And it sounds X or X or X. We'll talk about that later, but you should know it's letter X. And the next letter is Y. Letter Y. And that's the right way to say it. Letter Y sounds U. And letter Z sounds Z. And that is how to say your letters. I'm sure you enjoy listening to all of that. Now, what I want you to now do is to listen to the way I'm going to break the words into syllables. Whenever you have to spell in syllables. And that helps you to learn long words. We may not know that. That helps you to learn long words when you spell in syllables. So, to spell in syllables means that you will break each word into units. A syllable is a unit of a word. And because it's a unit of a word, you can hear it just one sound. Like I say, that's your sound. If I have, that's 2 syllables. So when you're spelling, break your words into syllable, or the word into syllable. So we're going to try that with our first word, our very first word, and that is G-E-A-R. And it is pronounced gear, the one you have in your car. Now, how many syllables do we have there? Just 1. So notice the way I'm going to spell it with a rhyme. And you should spell with a rhyme too if it's this kind of rhyme, if it's just one syllable. So let's go G-E-A-R. In fact, this one is better. G-E-A-R. Notice the finality when I said R. G-E-A-R. Again, G-E-A-R. Try that. Well done. Give yourself a super clap. Give yourself a super clap. Good. Very good. Well done. Now, our next word is secretary. Spelled S-E-C-R-E-T-A-R-Y. Now, the word secretary will have 4 syllables, so you should give me something like this. Spell secretary. You have S-E-C-R-E-T-A-R-Y. Now try that. You did very well. Give yourself a super clap. Give yourself a super clap. Good. Well done. Now let's go to the next one. The next word is G-O-O-G-L-E. And that's pronounced Google. I don't know where people got Google from. But the right pronunciation is Google. And it's spelled G-O-O-G-L-E. Google. Very good. You did very well. Now let's go to the very next word. It's W-E-D-N-E-S-D-A-Y. But if I am going to spell it this way. W-E-D-N-E-S, 1 syllable, D-A-Y. That's how I'm going to spell it. So, and that's because it's pronounced Wednesday. Wednesday and not Wednesday. I don't know where we got that from. But the right pronunciation is Wednesday. Wednesday. So it's just 2 syllables. So you should go W-E-D-N-E-S D-A-Y. W-E-D-N-E-S D-A-Y. And that's Wednesday. Okay. Now let's go for the last bit on the list word. And that is Staphylococcus. That's a long one. It has 5 syllables. And that is pronounced Staphylococcus. Now, Staphylococcus, you should take note it has 5 syllables, so I should do 5 rhymes. My first rhyme will be S-T-A-P-H-Y-L-O-C-O-C-C-U-S. Staphylococcus. And if you can try that, you will notice that you spell each one with a rhyme and you're sounding very different. And that is what you're expected to do when you go on an interview, when you are talking to your friends. You're asked to spell a word, try and spell that way. Now I have an assignment for you. And I will expect you to go through the 5 words, break it into syllables, and spell each one, record your voice, and send it to me on WhatsApp. Alright, and that will be all for now. Till I see you in our next class, don't forget to speak in the right diction. Bye-bye and bye.